360 family, good day. Welcome to 360 Live. It's great to have you all here. Wherever you are in the world, as you know, it's Super 8 time in the T20 World Cup 2024. And I believe it's been like a bit of a diesel engine, slow to start. But I truly believe we're going to see some fireworks over the next while as we're getting strength versus strength. Big games coming up, and I believe also better wickets. So expect some big scores as well. I think the batters might come back into the game, as I've seen reports about it as well. I've told you guys from the start of the tournament that as the tournament progresses, I feel the wickets are going to get better and better. Obviously, they're moving to the Windies. Wickets have been laid out for much longer, settled, where that New York wicket was quite fresh and took a bit of time. It's a shame because I think it's going to settle now and it's too late because the games are moving on. But anyway, buckle up, people. It's Super 8's time, and around 2 hours from now, just over 2 hours, it's the first game of the Super 8s, and it's a banger. It's the hosts, USA, against South Africa. Quietly confident, but a little bit nervous. I feel the boys have played some really good cricket. Yes, they've only scraped through most of the games, but I feel going to Antigua in the Windies. I've played there quite often. A really good cricket wicket. And generally, the better team should come out on top if they play good cricket on the day. So quietly confident with my boys and hope they have a good game. All the best, Proteas. Guys, please post your questions down below. In the descriptions box, I will cover as many questions as I can. All cricket related, T20 World Cup. Let's get into the swing of things. There's a lot that's happened. Also some controversial comments from various individuals. We'll cover a little bit of that as well as we pull up this log of Group A and B. And also remember to subscribe to the channel, people. Hit that bell notification. Also the like button. And let's have some fun here today. Group A then, India and USA. We spoke about surprises. It's proven to be one of the surprise groups alongside with Group C and also D. I think, if I remember correctly, we'll get there in a minute. But anyway, India and USA qualify there. Unfortunately for Pakistan, Canada, and Ireland, they'll have to work towards next World Cup. Big blow for Pakistan. I think a lot of people had them up as favourites. At the IPL, I mentioned that they will be out there in the knockouts, I think, if I'm not mistaken. They're a really good quality team. But we cover a little bit of Gary Kirsten and behind-the-scenes stuff that went down there with the Pakistan team. Group B then, Australia, England, no surprises there. Even though England stumbled a little bit in the start of the tournament, everyone was a bit worried about them. But the quality came through. Cream rose to the top, as it usually does. And Australia and England going through. Two high-quality teams. They've won World Cups left, right, and centre before. And I will be surprised if they don't perform well during the Super 8s. No luck this year for Scotland, Namibia, Oman. I must say it was one of the weaker groups out there, where some of the other groups had more quality throughout the 5 teams and a lot more pressure on the top teams, where Australia and England pretty plain sailing there for them. All right, moving on then, guys. Group C and D, excuse me. There we go. Group C. There's the other surprise, and also Group D surprise. 3 groups surprised all of us. I don't think. Well, South Africa probably proved to be the group of death alongside Group C and also the one we spoke about before, Group A, I think. But yes, I mean, South Africa, Bangladesh. That's not a huge surprise. I mean, Bangladesh have upset a lot of quality teams over a number of years now. It's sad to see Sri Lanka go. But it was always between 2 of the 3 teams there. I think the Netherlands had an outside chance, Nepal perhaps, but between those 3, it was always going to be about them, you know. Anyway, South Africa, Bangladesh coming out on top there. They've qualified. South Africa never losing a game during those group stages, which proves to be really handy for them going into the Super 8s. A little bit of confidence playing against the host first up. I think will bode well for them. Alrighty, so that's Group A to D, guys. It's Super 8's time. As I said, USA, South Africa today. Some incredible games of cricket coming up as we look there at Aiden Markram. He'll be rallying his troops together, getting ready to face the in-form USA team, the team that surprised everyone. They're playing at North Sound. It's in Antigua in the West Indies, the Caribbean. It's one of the most beautiful islands I've ever been to, guys. If you haven't been there before and you have the opportunity to go there during one of the upcoming games, I think there will be more games there. It's a fantastic island. There's some incredible resorts on the beach, all-inclusive resorts. One of those where you put the bracelet on your wrist and everything is just on the house. Well, you prepay. It's not really for free, but you feel like it's for free because you have this bracelet and you go to this hot dog stand and you grab a hot dog and you go to the pool and you have drinks there and it's all just bracelet. Then you go for a canoe ride and it's bracelet. Evening dinners, same thing. So very cool island. They love their cricket, the entire Caribbean, but also the people of Antigua. I clearly remember scoring 100 there in a test match many years ago. That's also where I bowled 21 overs on the trot as a 22-year-old, 21-year-old in test cricket. I could hardly walk the next week. But anyway, that's a little bit of background with regards to Antigua. There's also a boat club, a beautiful yacht club where all the boats come and park. It's a fantastic little island. And I think if you have the opportunity to ever go there, to travel to all the islands of the Caribbean, to Barbados and so many more. I mean, Trinidad, they have a rich history of cricket. Grenada, it's blow. Jamaica, obviously, Chris Gale. Let's mention a few more. Where's the others? Where did Darren Sammy play again? Guys, comment for me. Which are all the West Indies islands? I want to see if you guys know your geography and cricket knowledge as well, cricket history. Let me know if you know about some cricket history. I know Brian Charles Lara's from Trinidad. I've been to his house there on top of a hill close to the cricket ground. He's like the mayor of Trinidad, an absolute legend over there. So many beautiful things to see. Also in Barbados, there's a place called Sandy Beach, and there's one of the best golf courses there, the Green Monkey Golf Course, but one of the best lunches I've ever had. There we go, Trinidad and Tobago. That's correct. I mentioned Trinidad. I didn't add Tobago. Apologies. Hi to you all. Thanks for joining us. Jamaica, I did mention Abilash. Stop copying me, man, please. Barbados, I've mentioned. Where's Darren Sammy from? I want to know if you guys know. St. Lucia. There we go. South Africa lost there in the semi-finals against Australia in the 2007 World Cup. And I was there. Not pleasant memories for me. But anyway, yes, St. Lucia, beautiful little island. I wanted to hear it from you guys because Darren Sammy showed me around St. Lucia before. It's a fantastic place, and it's just worth it, guys. Go and travel to the West Indies. If you can make it during the World Cup, even better. What a bonus. Go watch South Africa win the World Cup. So many quality teams. India, Australia, England, USA, so many more. It's going to be great, these Super 8s. It's nice to see Afghanistan there as well. They are a force to be reckoned with. There, all the islands at the bottom. So thanks for taking part in that, guys. And let's move on then. Let's quickly take a question. Dirk Botha. AB, does the Proteas go with one or two specialist spinners today? Regards, Dirk Botha. Taught you at Office when you arrived there in 1998. I do remember that. I remember your face very clearly. It's great to see you and great to hear from you. Thank you very much. It's a tough question. I wouldn't say so purely because against the USA, I feel one of our biggest strengths will be our pace attack. I will go with a full-out pace attack and stay with Keshav Maharaj. That's been the winning formula for us during this tournament so far. Now we're going to an even better wicket. And I think stick to your strengths. Outright pace, Amrech Nortje, KG Rabada and the guys to come and steamroll the USA batters, hopefully put them under big pressure. That will be the kind of pace that they've never experienced before, perhaps. So I would keep the team the same. That's a very well-balanced Proteas side. There's lots of options. Remember, Aiden Markram can bowl some off-spin. Also Tristan Stubbs. Then Maharaj. So lots of options. No wrist spinner, yes. But I don't think the wicket is going to turn as much. So stick to the same team. Thanks, Dirk. Nice to hear from you. Moving on to the next thing then. Another question. What do you think about Keshav Maharaj's inclusion in today's match? Will he be useful for the Proteas or should they go for Shamsi? Keshav Maharaj, guys. I love Tabraj Shamsi. I think he's an X-factor player, turns the ball both ways. But Keshav is just too experienced, too good. also offers something with a bat in hand. He's also a leader. He's a captain for the Durban Super Giants in the SA20 League. And he's a good fielder. He's a grinder. He's a competitor. He wants to win games of cricket. I clearly remember playing warm-up football games against him, and he would go down as one of the most competitive players I've ever played against. Playing soccer, I could realize that someone was here to win. He was in my space always, and I'm very similar, so that's why I picked up on it. I'm a very similar player. I hate the ball going past me. I would chase the guy down. I would go and steal the ball back. But Keshav would always fight me to the ground. Like, he wouldn't give up. He would still be in my face non-stop. So he's a grinder, and he's the kind of guy you want in your team and not playing against you. So he's my go-to guy. If there is a wicket turning a bit more, that's a bit slower, Shamsi is for sure the next guy in line. But because we have Markram and Stubbs for now on a good wicket in Antigua, I would stick with this team. I'm not expecting to see any changes. Thanks, guys. One more year. What do you say for the Pakistani performance? Yes, very interesting. Very disappointing, obviously. Surprised. I don't know what to say, really. For some reason, they looked thin. That batting lineup looked thin. If guys like Fakhar Zaman and Babar Azam and Rizwan didn't score runs, all of a sudden, I couldn't really see anyone looking at home there. Iftikhar, yes, he would hit sixes here and there, but they played on wickets that didn't allow guys to just free their hands. So those guys were not worth much in those grind games. You need to be able to adapt as a batter to certain situations and conditions. And they were incapable of doing so, and which was very, very surprising to see. Let's move on then to the next thing, guys. I think we need to get some graphics on there for Gary Kirsten. I heard some interesting comments coming out of their change room, which, first of all, before we start with those comments, I want to say that it's quite disappointing. So when you have a team and they're not performing well, generally the pressure is quite big. You get a lot of guys pulling away from each other, becoming individuals. So this is not actually taken from a press conference or from a written presser or video content, any of that. This comes from the Pakistani change room. So which means it leaked from the change room. One of the players decided, you know what, Gary had a bit of a go at us here. I'm going to go and tell some people about it. Very childish, very immature, and probably tells us a story of where Pakistani cricket is at the moment. So yes, I have absolutely no doubt that these words were said in the change room, and what happens in the change room is supposed to stay in the change room. I've said a lot worse things than this to my team after a really poor series or performance in the change room. A heart-to-heart is sometimes necessary, and you also give the players the opportunity to speak up. What is bothering you? So I would always approach it in a way of, guys, that was unacceptable. As a South African team, we're better than that. We have a responsibility on your shoulders. I'm expecting more fighting spirit on the ground. Too many fumbles, too many misfields, which tells me your attitude is not in the right place. What is going on? Speak up. If you want to say something, stand up now and talk. So along those lines, but I would never expect any of my teammates to drop me and to go out and to the public and speak about it. So it tells you a bit of a story of the character of some of the players in that Pakistani team, and gives me absolutely no surprise because for the way they performed. If you have those kind of characters in your setup, they generally make the team so rotten, or they add to a rotten patch in the team that's just not possible to pull back during a tournament. So really sad to say, but I don't know if Gary Kirsten is going to last there now. For those comments coming out, it seems like he feels very negative about Pakistani cricket, but I can tell you now, his attitude with, or his hopes with those comments were to get a reaction from the team and for them to go, you know what, we're going to show him we're better than this. But now, unfortunately, it's out in the public. The administrators and the CEOs and the board will go like, Gary Kirsten is a South African guy. He doesn't really belong in Pakistan. If he feels like that about our team, maybe we should get rid of him. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's turmoil. It's all over the place. And obviously now we look back and we think the performances were not surprising at all. There were a lot of individuals pulling in different directions. And with the Protea setup, that's the first thing we would always work on is our culture. Are we all present? Are we buying into the plan? And I know a lot of you would sit out there and think, yeah, you never won a World Cup. Who are you to talk? Fair enough. But I can tell you now that our culture were always in the right place. And the cancerous little individuals and the guys, how can I say that? Cancerous doesn't sound good. But one rotten apple makes the entire basket of apples rotten, you know. So we would always try and get rid of the rotten apples, if I can say it like that. You guys know what I mean. So going onto the field, I would always like to feel like I have the buy-in of the team and we're playing for the right reasons. So we're here to represent our country. So hopefully sooner rather than later, Pakistan get back on that train of playing for the nation, playing for each other, and having a team full of characters who play cricket for the right reasons. All right, that's the long and the short. Obviously disappointing to all your Pakistani fans out there. No offense meant from my side, purely just an honest chat. And it's a shame that things like that comes out into the public sometimes, especially when it comes from one of the players or from within a trusted environment where you feel you can say honest stuff to each other, you know. And I know Gary Kirsten very well. That was his intentions with that. Guys, you're better than this. Stand up, come back fighting. I'm not thinking that's going to make it to the public. Unfortunately, it did. Righty, moving on then, guys, to the next thing. I also saw some interesting comments with David Warner. We'll speak about that in a minute. Talking about the Aussies, Mitchell Starc criticizes the T20 World Cup schedule structure. They are clashing with India pretty soon, and they feel that the seeding process was not fair. But anyway, I will quote him at the bottom. I think there's a question to be asked about pre-seeding. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. That's what Stark said in a press conference following Australia's win against Scotland. Yeah, so what happens is the ICC, most probably because of logistics and scheduling and trying to make it easier for fans, running cricket as a business, which I've criticized before. Unfortunately, sometimes these things do happen where pre-seeding ends up players being unhappy because players or teams that perform better feel they deserve a bit of a bonus in knockout stages or in big strength versus strength group stages like the Super 8s, where you deserve a better draw. Think of like a Roger Federer back in the day or Djokovic. When they seeded 1 or 2, they generally get the easier players or the lower ranked players in the quarters, semi-finals, leading up to the finals, where ultimately 1 and 2 will meet each other. But leading up to that, seeding is always usually crucial. So Stark having a bit of a go here about the pre-seeding formula that was used and ultimately ending up with India and Australia having to play each other in the Super 8s. They would much rather have wanted to play USA, Afghanistan, and who knows who else. The West Indies, for instance, lower ranked players being one of the higher ranked teams. Anyway, logistically, it's really difficult for the ICC. It makes sense. You want the public to go and watch the games. You want them to buy the tickets. Now, if the night before there's a result and all of a sudden Australia's match moves from St. Lucia to Antigua and you have all of a sudden passport issues, it's a big flight and all sorts of logistics need to fall into place to counter that. Merchandise being sold at the ground, broadcasting trucks driving all over the place. I understand the nightmare thereof. I also understand the players' frustration. What is the solution? I have absolutely no idea. But I sit with the players always because I understand that frustration. You want if you finish top of the log with the IPL, you want to play the weakest possible team. You deserve that. You were the most consistent team during the IPL. It makes sense, right? And the IPL has done that really well. So, guys, post more questions down below, please. I have about 5 minutes left, and I'll cover as many as I can. I also will speak briefly about David Warner. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I will get there in a second. Somyadeep, hi, Abby, what do you think about Virat Kohli opening for India? I saw this in the headlines as well. Do you think he should come out in number 3? Yes, I do. I've told you guys this before. I can't remember who commented. It was some legend. Let me just see who it was. I think it's Michael Clark or someone like that. Now my Wi-Fi is slow. Anyway, long story short, on some headline, people were asking if Virat should stay as the opening batter for India or move to 3. Everyone sort of voted that he should stick to opening. I've always said, please bat Virat at number 3. But anyway, especially at this better wickets they're going to face now, Virat is your go-to guy at number 3. Can play both an attacking game, but also pull back a bit and absorb pressure if necessary. There's no one better than that in the middle overs. So I would love to see that. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Somya Deep, let me know what you guys think. What do you think should happen? Should he open or bat at number 3? I think 3, but you don't have to agree with me. But if you do say open, let me know what your reasons are for that. My reasons for him batting at number 3 would be he's too good to get a good delivery in the first 2 overs. Generally, a wicket falls between overs 2, 3, 4, 5. So he still gets a little bit of the power play if he bats at number 3. He's the best player in the world in the middle overs. He keeps things together. He reads situations well. He knows when to go a bit harder. He identifies moments to have a go at the attack. And then he also understands if we lose wickets 2, 3, 4, he knows how to pull things back and to start a partnership again. There's no one better in the world. So there's my reasons for him needing to bat at number 3. Let me know what you guys think and why he should be opening. I don't see any reasons, except for he can get out in the first 2 overs with a really good ball from Anrich Nokia or some good bowler. Right, your words on the USA performance in the first World Cup. Absolutely stunning. It's been refreshing. Love watching the hosts perform that well, one of the hosts. I love their body language. You could see that they're a team that want to play and they play with passion and the right reasons, you know. I spoke about Pakistan earlier and the way I approached the change room sometimes with the Proteas team when I was captain. And I would always encourage my players to ask yourself the question, why am I standing on this cricket field? What am I doing here? Why am I doing this? And my answer to myself would always be that I love playing cricket. Since I was a little boy, this is what I wanted. I'm living my absolute dream. So there's no time for shoulders hanging or feeling sorry for a misfield or sulking in the change room because I'm out for a duck. It's now my opportunity to add value in other ways. How can I lift my teammates? How can I stop the next ball and show that I've learned from my mistakes? That's the kind of attitude I've seen the USA play with. They want the ball. Their eyes are wide open. They're looking for opportunities to get momentum on their side. And it's great to watch. A lot of unknown players. I think there's a lot of talent up front with their batters. Right, left-hand combinations as well. I see a couple of South Africans in the team as well. Gous, he hasn't scored a lot of runs, but hopefully he'll come good soon. Not against his former country, though, please. But just great to see these guys play great cricket. If we can pull up the team sheet there, guys, I can sort of go through the players that have impressed me most. I know the left-arm opener, Netravalgar, the guy who played for the Mumbai state team not long ago, 2013, 14, 15 season around there. Left arm opening bowler, comes from Mumbai, and here he is playing for the USA in the World Cup. What a great story. He's a software engineer. He decided to follow that path, feeling like he's not going to get his breakthrough as a cricketer. And now he's living the best of both worlds. He's got his bread buttered on both sides. Very happy for a guy, Saurabh Netravalgar. Really good shape both ways. Very good control. He's bowled under pressure. I think of that super over where he bowled incredibly well, wide Yorkers. It's just a guy that looks like he's enjoying his cricket. And you know what's the most amazing thing that a lot of coaches taught me over the years, especially someone like a Gary Kirsten? Get things that you enjoy away from the game as well. So here's this guy. He's a great example. Software engineer. He's got more important things to worry about than to collapse in a super over. He sees this as a bonus, like, oh my word, what a great opportunity. I've got my job tomorrow, so I'm going to go work again, and then I'm going to do what I'm best at. But here I am. I've got the opportunity to try and defend a super over or to bowl really good wide Yorkers and see what I come up with. So there's the squad. Thanks for that backroom team. That's Stephen Taylor that I was talking about, Aaron Jones, two really good batters. I think Stephen Taylor is the left-hand tall batter. I've loved the way he plays. He looks really compact. He's also prepared to play both attacking and defensive cricket. He's not just a one-dimensional player. There's Andries Gous, also the wicket-keeper. He stood out to me. He hasn't scored a lot of runs, but I've seen his form coming into this tournament. He's very dangerous. There's another South African, Shadley van Schalkwyk. I've played some cricket against him. He's from the Free State. Really smart bowler with good skill. But I've been very impressed with this team, just an all-round balanced side. There's another familiar name, Corey Anderson, the New Zealander. I played a lot of cricket against him. Milan Kumar, impressive. Who else stood out? Harmeet Singh, he looked really good. But just a really good team. Monang Patel, the captain, obviously, all-round really good side. I think that Stephen Taylor, tall left-hand batter, was also the former captain. So Patel, the new captain there. But just a fantastic team. And it's really refreshing and great for cricket and for this T20 World Cup, for the tournament itself, for the growth thereof, to see some of these minor teams or associate teams come through. As we look at this quickly, the teams that have already qualified for the T20 World Cup in 2026, and that will be played in Bangladesh and India, if I'm not mistaken. I think I am right. There we are. Sorry, Sri Lanka and India. The hosts already qualified. So there we go. That answers my question. India and Sri Lanka. And then because of this World Cup's performance, teams that qualified, the other top 7 of the Super 8s, Afghanistan, Australia, Bangladesh, England, South Africa, USA, and the West Indies. And rightfully so, a bit of a reward for fantastic performance in this World Cup. And then because of rankings, we have Ireland, New Zealand, Pakistan qualifying there, and all the other teams will unfortunately have to go and qualify again via regional qualifiers. There we go, the Europes get a couple there, East Asia, Americas, and then Asia and Africa. All right, we'll keep a close eye on that as we move towards 2026. But for now, it's the Super 8s first, and we're only a couple of hours away from South Africa and the USA clashing. Which 4 teams will reach the semis? I think it's India, Australia, South Africa, and West Indies. No England there, I see. No USA, no Afghanistan. Guys, I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to get one upset here. We'll see about that if I'm right, but I feel either Afghanistan or the USA are going to qualify, and I think it's going to be phenomenal. Obviously, it'll be a huge upset to some of the bigger teams, but let's see if they can find a way. The West Indies, very dangerous. The rest of their games will be at home. They'll get incredible support. South Africa, Australia, India. India will be there, guys. I can't see India falling out. There's just too much quality there. Australia will be there. So if the other team is an upset, either Afghanistan or the USA, that means there's only one spot left, and that's for South Africa. All right, so it's India, South Africa, Australia, and let's go Afghanistan. I'm going to go Afghanistan. I think they've got a trick up their sleeves. A lot of experienced players who've played a lot of IPL cricket, and they look hungry. All right, there's my 4 teams. Thanks for that, Harsh. I'll take one more question, guys, and then I'm just briefly going to touch on David Warner, and we're going to move on. All right, thanks, The Direct Hit, for being a super fan. Really appreciate it. And to all you broadcast channel people out there, thank you very much for joining. What does India need to do to cross the knockouts hurdle this time? I don't think they have to do much. Just play good cricket. Make sure you throw the first punch. I feel in the times, in the past World Cups where they haven't performed well, they've been a little bit conservative, sort of feeling the way into games. And I feel they're such a quality team. They can afford to take a bit of a risk early in the game to get that momentum, because there's just no looking back for them if they do get the momentum. There's too much quality in the side. So, but when you're a little bit conservative, a little bit tentative, sometimes the other team throws the first punch, gets you 10 for 2, and because you're a little bit circumspect and tentative about batting, perhaps, that's where they get themselves into trouble, and when they start doubting themselves. I feel with the quality in that side, with the Rohit and Virat up front. Just for someone like a Rohit, just go and intimidate the opposition a bit. Come out of your crease like a Matthew Hayden used to do, and just sort of get on top of the bowlers, put your chest out, and show them that you're here. That is very intimidating to an opposing team. So that's what I think India need to do, is to be aggressive and to trust their own ability. Okay. If you haven't heard about the David Warner comments, he's going through a bit of a patch where he feels really sorry for himself. And I mean that with respect, but he feels with the whole ball scratching, sandpaper gate saga, whatever you want to call it, that he was hard done by and he got the rough side of the coin. He doesn't feel that the other team mates had it any harder, or not even as close as hard as he did. But I remember Stephen Smith and Bancroft going through quite a bit of a patch with everything they had to go through. But obviously Davey sort of hinting that he feels more teammates needed to take ownership, and more of them knew about what was going on. Who knows what is happening there? I know there were some comments from Michael Clark and Aaron Finch. If you want to go find that on Google, it is available. They did an interview where they spoke about it. And the general feeling was that the timing was terribly off from Davey Warner. They're in the middle of a World Cup, going into the Super 8s, and it's not the time to throw stuff like that at the media. It's just not something that the Aussie team needs right now. Maybe it is. Maybe it's the secret magic potion that's helped them win so many World Cups. Maybe they need a bit of controversy to get the juices flowing in that side. I don't know. But the Aussies always seem to find a way to be there at the end. All right, guys. That brings me to the end of this 360 Live. Thank you very much for joining. Remember to subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate all of you. Thanks for taking part in it. Also, like the show, hit the bell notification if you don't want to miss anything. If you want to be notified from me, please do that. So love from Hyderabad. Thank you very much. Love from South Africa. And technical guy, thanks for being a big fan. I really appreciate it. And to all of you out there, thanks for watching. Keep your eyes on the rest of the World Cup. There's my social media handles right there. Facebook, Insta, and also X. Follow me on that for some content and also updates on what's coming next. Go the Proteas. I hope the guys play well today against the USA. To whatever team you support out there, all the very best with your team. May they go all the way. Have a fantastic week, guys, and I'll see you on the weekend. Bye now.